Now, I used to work at the cable company. This was years ago. It's my first real job. Like I said before. Now, I worked there when Mike Tyson was the shit. And this was back before they had fiber optic cables. So, when you wanted a premium channel, half of Nashville, they could order and disconnect the premium channel through the cable box. We would pull up the account, give them access. They'd have to turn the box off, turn it back on, and then they would have the channel. You could also order pay-per-view like that too, but you didn't have to turn the box on and off. It would just give you access at the specific time that the pay-per-view was available. So, those who didn't have fiber optics, a technician had to go out there, climb up on the pole, and put a trap, this was called a trap, on the line so that you can get the movie for however long. So, Mike Tyson had a fight. It was the big one. I think it was his first big one. First or second one. It was at the height of his shit. Maybe everybody in Nashville was excited. All over the place. Everybody was. We had worked 14 hours a day for a week, getting people signed up for the Tyson fight. When I tell you it was big shit, baby, my paycheck was fat. Do you hear me? The day of the fight, we had to be at work at 6 o'clock that morning, worked up to the fight, and we had TVs inside the call center, so we could watch pay-per-view, movies and shit. So when the fight came on, we was watching, okay? Maybe my fingers, face, voice, everything was tired. Come on, the fight starts. The calls drop from on the board, it shows how many calls are in queue. It was so many calls in queue that the thing was flashing red. It was so many, it couldn't tell us. It dropped down to 0 as soon as the fight started. Nobody was getting calls. So we're sitting there like, oh my gosh, did something happen? It's like, no, the fight's about to start. I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Baby, Mike Tyson's fight has started. 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. They were like clockwork. Okay, anyway. 2 minutes after the fight started, the call volume jumped back up, boom, to red. It's like, y'all, everybody get back on phones. Because we had got off the phone, we was in the break room and shit. I was in the bathroom. It's like, we need everybody back on the phones right now, immediately. I was like, the fuck, what's going on? Baby, those white folks had called and let us have it. Mike Tyson had set foot in that ring, knocked him out, and then came back out the ring. He was in the ring for 2 minutes. When I tell you, those white folks in Nashville lost their shit. They was going off. Everybody wanted a refund, and we had to tell everybody, we are so sorry. You did not pay for a time limit. You paid for the fight. If you got a problem, you need to take it up with Mike Tyson's management, not the cable company. Baby, I'm talking about them folks. Some of them called in and canceled their cables. We switching to satellite. If you don't give us our motherfucking money back for this goddamn fight. We was like, sorry, we can't do it. We didn't issue not one refund. Just know that. Baby, they held in again. Here we go. Them folks had called in They canceled their cable, canceled cable books, because that's back then when you can get a cable book. They canceled cable books. They canceled their boxes. They canceled movie channels. They was pissed. So we got through that, kind of, sort of. No, they came into the cable store. No, there was one big cable store. It was in Metro Center, Nashville. Maybe it was a line up the street. Then I want my money back for that. I paid for a fight, and I didn't see anything. She said, I went to the bathroom. I came back, and it was over. They had all kind of stories. I was like, we're sorry, you should have recorded it, because there's nothing we could do. Anyway, another one. Fast forward to the next fight. Can we tell them we don't give a fuck if he knocks him out immediately? They said, no, you can't do that. We weren't allowed to do that. So we said, okay. So baby, he got in that ring, knocked his ass the fuck out again. I remember this white man called. He said, I don't understand why the fuck I paid for another goddamn fight. Them fight was like $50 and $60 and $75. Them people was pissed, baby. I'm not doing this shit no motherfucking how. Going off. Rich folks, everybody pissed. I remember 2 fights, and those was the 2. He knocked them people out immediately. And some of them, and then I think like the next fight, maybe if I'm remembering correctly, we was trying to sell the fight. You gonna buy the fight? No, we're gonna go to a bar and we're gonna watch it at the bar. we're not paying for this fight again. That I do remember. I remember some of the other things. Some of them was like, no, we're all gonna get together over at so-and-so's house. They're going to pay for it, or we're all going to chip in and pay together. Nobody wanted to pay for it by themselves. Not too many people did. That was my experience with the Mike Tyson fight. What else? Oh, this is what I just saw on Twitter the other day. This morning, just a second ago. When the Challenger blew up. I remember when that happened. I've seen a lot of shit in my lifetime. I remember I was a kid, and first of all, I had a nanny, but she wasn't an actual nanny. It was a black lady who took care of the kids, and we called her nanny. Her name was Nanny to us. You know how your grandmama have a name like Madia, or your grandfather has a name like Pawpaw? The lady who babysat us, her name was Nanny. So that's what I call her. So I was over at my nanny's house, but she wasn't an actual nanny. I need to stress that, because when I tell stories to black people about my nanny, the first thing they do is they go into shock. Wait a minute, you had a nanny? What the fuck? I said, no, she wasn't an actual nanny. It was just her name was Nanny. So, but her government name was Cassie Boyd. But everybody, even at the people at the church, they call her Nanny. So I was at my nanny's house, and this is one time I got picked up late by my dad. And we were sitting there in front of the TV watching it. He was like, yo, look, the space shuttle is about to go to the moon. Ooh. All the kids were sitting there watching it, and then it just blew up. Boom, boom. I was sitting there watching it, and it didn't register to me that I had just saw some people die on the news. I was just watching it. To me, at the time I was a big Star Wars fan. So it looked like a little something off of the Star Wars. It didn't register to me. As a matter of fact, if you watch some explosions for aircrafts in movies now, they kind of look like what happened with the Challenger. So it didn't register to me that was the first spaceship that blew up, because I remember the next day it was on the news, but it still didn't register to me that I just saw a spaceship blow up. So. And then as I got older, then I realized, oh shit, I just watched like history happen on TV when I was a kid, and it didn't even register to me. Okay, so I'm at the gym again.